Topic 9. Regret as an identity parasite. You don't just remember the regret. You become it. At first, it was a moment, a bad choice, a silence, a missed turn, but then you replayed it. Again, then again, and with every replay, your brain reshaped you around it, until you stopped being someone who regretted something and became someone made of regret. This isn't poetic. It's anatomical. Neuroscientific studies on long-term regret show changes in how the default mode network, DMN, behaves. This is the system responsible for self-reflection, autobiographical memory, and identity. In people with chronic regret, the DMN becomes entrained to that single moment. It folds the regret into the entire narrative arc of the self. You're no longer just the person who did that. You're the person who is that. The moment fuses to your sense of self, like scar tissue welded into muscle. And now every thought, every goal, every relationship filters through that distortion. This is what psychologists call a core shame identity, when the ego collapses into a fixed self-narrative based on a perceived moral or emotional failure. Regret becomes not just part of you, but the lens through which all other parts are measured. That success? Tainted. You didn't deserve it. That love? Dangerous. You'll ruin it again. That opportunity? Pointless. You already proved who you are. Regret doesn't just punish the past. It colonizes the future. This is where it becomes parasitic. In cognitive behavioral frameworks, parasitic thought loops form when negative core beliefs become self-reinforcing. The brain seeks confirmatory experiences, memories, relationships, interpretations that validate the original wound. You start to interpret neutral events as further proof of your brokenness. Every failure feels earned. Every joy feels stolen. And the parasite grows. It has a voice. Of course you failed. Of course they left. Of course it didn't work. It has memory. Remember when you ruined it all? That wasn't an accident. It has logic. Better not try. You already know what kind of person you are. And so you shrink. You live smaller. You love cautiously. You chase less. Because you're no longer living as yourself. You're living as the regrets version of you. Even worse, this identity becomes comfortable, familiar. You fear changing it. Because if the regret goes away, what replaces it? Who are you without the punishment? That's the final trick of the parasite. It makes you believe it's you. So you protect it. You feed it with memory. You sharpen it with reflection. You bury potential futures just to keep its voice intact. Because what would you do if it suddenly stopped hurting? Who would you be if it turned out you were more than the worst thing you didn't do? But you won't find out. Because the parasite doesn't let go. It doesn't die. It becomes the host. And if you let a single moment define everything, how much of you was ever yours to begin with? Topic 10.